Gowda. Sir Rajeev Gowda.
Thank you, sir. It's an honor to be able to speak on the 122nd Constitutional Amendment Bill.
But keep
When
in mind the time constraints.
Happily, sir. When we started this debate, it was so touching to see Dr. Manmohan Singh right there in the first row, Mrs. P. Chidambaram right here. This is the 25th anniversary of India's historic reforms, liberalization, and their presence here gave us that continuity and told us about how reforms are a continuous process. Well, this reform was something that the Congress government, the UPA, tried to usher in more than many years ago now, and it has taken a long time and two different regimes to ultimately bring this constitutional amendment, the GST bill, to fruition. So, when we think about some of the issues that delayed the passage, I will not dwell on what happened when we were in power, but in the last couple of years, the Congress party has spent a lot of effort trying to improve this bill and make it as effective and perfect as possible. I'll only address that one issue of a cap on the GST rate, sir. So, everyone is focusing on 18%. We are already at 15.5%, which is, as Sri Chidambaram pointed out, the revenue neutral rate that has been mentioned as appropriate by the Chief Economic Advisor in that report. Essentially, if we go ahead and add to the taxation, it will be absolutely inflationary and regressive. These 2 points bear reiteration. We cannot build a nation by breaking the backs of the poor of this country. Their backs will be broken by higher service tax, by higher GST. Their backs will be broken by the inflation that also will come with that. That is something that we must keep in mind. Service sector is the sector that is growing the fastest, and we should do whatever we can to ensure that it continues to grow without burdening it with higher tax rates. So, let me continue and point out that the Finance Minister is very proud of his commitment to fiscal rectitude. We have the Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act that focuses on the spend side. Fiscal policy is tax and spend. Today we're on tax. Why can't we have a cap of 18% on the, which was accepted and put into that GST bill and ensure that we maintain this fiscal rectitude as we go forward? So I'd like to address 2 or 3 other issues that have come up or have not come up. One is this issue of dual control. Now, in the last week's meeting of the Empowered Committee, there was a decision to leave the administration of small taxpayers to the state government. The reports indicate that the cap is being kept at 1.5 crore turnover. So I would actually suggest that you go up to 5 crore so that the small taxpayer is not burdened with having to juggle a central government and state government tax authorities. So similarly, some of the other issues that came up had to do with urban India, local bodies, and their loss of revenues. So this is an issue, and Pradeep Bhattacharya, my senior colleague, pointed out about state finance commissions, whether they're effective or not. And so this whole area is still very murky. Much more needs to be done to resolve the contradictions and the challenges that are faced by urban India, by local bodies, when their revenue sources will dry up as a result of GST. So, one point that nobody seems to have focused on is the administrative reforms that are needed after the GST is rolled out. Today, we have an Indian Revenue Service which deals with excise, another with customs, another with something else. And going forward, we may need a GST service. We may need some kind of a reorganization, a whole bunch of newly trained people focused on the new digital backbone that has been established. So, mindful of the time, I want to focus on one last point. This has to do with e-commerce. I come from Bangalore, which is at the cutting edge of digital technology, of the e-commerce revolution, etc. So e-commerce is a platform that is giving us opportunities, giving everyone, thanks to the mobile phone, the smartphone that is in people's hands, in every village people are able to purchase the same goods and services that you and I could purchase in urban India. This is something that must be encouraged. There is a lot of ambiguity in what constitutes a good or a service in the electronic digital domain, and much more needs to be done in terms of bringing clarity there. So the tax at source, which applies in that context, will really hurt the small seller who also tries to use e-commerce platforms to try and reach a bigger platform, bigger market. the whole issue of who is a platform, who is an aggregator, they're all adding value, they're changing the way economics of various sectors are actually evolving. We need to pay attention to the fact that these need to be nurtured rather than hampered in their progress. Finally, sir, I would like to argue that there is so much more to be done on the part of the government in terms of reassuring us that the commitments that have been made outside will also be honored in the GST bill going forward. And I reiterate the demand of our senior colleague, Shri P. Chidambaram, that we need assurances on the floor of the House that the GST bill will incorporate the cap. It will come in as a financial bill rather than a money bill, and that the Rajya Sabha will have full say in helping to evolve India's tax administration system, and in the spirit of a united common market within India, in the spirit of ensuring better tax compliance, and in the spirit of ensuring that the economy grows and revenue increases and the country prospers without hampering the common man. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for confining to the time allotted to you. Thank you very much. That's great.